Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Matt.
I'm Kiki.
Today we've got part 3 of our story, The Snowman. So we started off in part 1 of this story, meeting our 2 main characters, and that is, well, one is a snowman, and the other is a watchdog. And this watchdog and the snowman both live on this property of their master, and the master, once let the watchdog live in the house, but now it stays in the housekeeper's room. And the watchdog also teaches the snowman a lot of interesting things about the world, about the seasons, about the sun and the moon, and also about some things that are inside the house or inside the housekeeper's room.
And we're talking about this iron black stove that the snowman is very interested in seeing. So the watchdog said, you can look through the basement window to see it. And after he saw it, he became stove sick. He became so in love with this stove.
That he's so in love that he wants to, lean against the stove. He watches it day and night, and he's so in love that he has forgotten sort of to take care of himself by paying attention to the weather and by, caring about the wind and if it's cold enough for him.
That's right. So today is the last part of our story. We're going to find out what happens. Is he going to finally meet or touch this stove? Let's find out.
Then the weather started getting warmer. As the temperatures increased, the snowman decreased. He didn't say a word, and one morning he broke apart.
Hi there. Today we're reading part 3 of our story called The Snowman.
Okay, let's get to it. Then the weather started getting warmer. So we know the snowman, he has been staying outside. He lives outside, and he hasn't cared much or paid attention to what was happening with the weather. It's getting warmer, and that is not good news for a snowman.
That is right. As the temperatures increased, the snowman decreased. All right. So the temperatures are increasing. Temperature is a noun that means the hotness or coldness of something, the degree of heat. So we often use Celsius scale to measure the temperature, where 0 is the freezing point and 100 is the boiling point of water at sea level. Okay, so if this temperature is getting hotter, the snowman is not going to be doing so well.
That's right. So here we're talking about the temperature increasing. So when something increases, you are making something, or something is becoming bigger in size or in number. So in this case, we might be talking about going from 0 degrees to maybe 20 degrees or even 30 degrees. So the numbers are getting higher.
That's right, and we mentioned that the snowman decreases. So decrease is the opposite of increase. It means to become less or fewer in size or number. Now, we don't usually use decrease to say that a thing has become smaller. Usually we would say that the snowman decreased in size. So we mean that the size of the snowman is becoming smaller. So while we don't usually say it, the author here, the writer of this story, has used this to make a nice sounding sentence by having both increase and decrease in the same sentence, making for some nice writing.
So, of course, in our sentence, we're talking about how the snowman, he is getting smaller because it is getting warmer outside. All right, let's go to Tina.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 temperature 名词，温度、气温。The temperature is very low today. 今天的气温很低。Increase 动词，增加。The number of books in the library is increasing. 图书馆的书本数量正在增加。Decrease 动词，缩小、减少。The noise decreased after midnight. 午夜过后，噪音减少了。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, so we've seen that the snowman, he's actually melting, but he doesn't care. He's so distracted. He didn't say a word. And one morning, he broke apart.
Okay, so when you say he broke apart, I guess the snow that was held together is now melted so much that it's just fallen apart. And I guess there is no longer going to be a snowman. But even with all of this happening with the melting and with, him being about to break apart, he didn't say anything. He was still so focused on that stove.
So that means all he cared about was still that stove, that he didn't even worry about himself.
Okay, well, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的文法 break apart 崩塌裂开 break 指的是裂开，它的三态是 break, broke, broken. Apart 是副词，指的是分开的。我们来看看这个例句 The old toy broke apart in my hands. 那个旧玩具在我手里裂开了。接着我们回到课文当中。
Wow, so this is really bad news for the snowman because he actually is breaking apart.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like it's going to be a very happy ending to this story. I was hoping that, the snowman, the stove would meet and they would have a wedding and get married and live happily ever after. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Oh, okay, well, we don't know yet. I'm still hopeful.
All right, well, let's go to part 2 of the story and we'll be right back.
In the snowman's spot, the watchdog saw a stove rake. It was standing up. Now the watchdog understood the snowman's feelings for the stove. The rake was in the snowman, so it caused him to have those feelings. However, that was all over, and soon winter was too. What's more, nobody in the house thought of the snowman anymore.
Welcome back. So before the break, we have just learned that the snowman has actually melted so much that he has fallen apart. He's broken apart. And I guess he's no longer a snowman. Or he's no longer snow, he's no longer man. He's just, I guess, mostly water now.
Well, let's see what happens to the rest of the story. In the snowman's spot, the watchdog saw a stove rake. It was standing up. Okay, so clearly the snowman is gone now, but there was something else that was inside the snowman when they were making him, when they were building him. They actually put a stove rake inside of him, probably to help them hold up the snow when they were building. So that's why the watchdog now saw a stove rake standing up in its place. So when something is standing, or when you stand something up, it's to put something in an upright position. Like Matt and I are both standing up. We are both on our feet now. So when you put something upright, or when you are standing on your feet, that is to stand up.
All right, getting back to the story. Now, the watchdog understood the snowman's feelings for the stove. Okay, so he understands, I guess, that it wasn't just, from nothing that the snowman felt like it, wanted to be near the stove, but it was because it had something that belongs with the stove inside of him.
There was some sort of connection. Okay, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的文法 ，stand up， 物品直立，人站立。我们来看看这个例句 ：After the typhoon, the tree in our yard is still standing up. 台风过后，我们家院子那棵树依然直立着。接着我们回到课文当中。
The rake was in the snowman, so it caused him to have those feelings. So we were talking about how he had a connection because he had something that belonged to the stove, this stove rake.
Yeah, those things go together, so the snowman felt like he belonged with the stove. So this stove rake caused those feelings. To cause something means to make something happen. So if something is caused by something else, it happened because of that thing. And we can see that even the word because is related to cause. It's spelled almost the same. Something is caused by something, then it happened because of that thing. Okay, so continuing with the story. However, that was all over. And soon winter was too. So the snowman really couldn't have lived much longer anyway, because if winter's over, there's really nowhere for the snowman to go. So the snowman only could live in the winter, and now that it's over, his story is over too.
What's more, nobody in the house thought of the snowman anymore. So it's kind of sad because, well, for me, I think the snowman, he had been struggling because he loved this stove so much. He didn't care about himself, but this whole time, nobody in the house thought about him or cared about him either.
Right, well, maybe because he was so focused on just looking at the stove and he wasn't concerned about, being with other people, making relationships with other people, like the people in the house, that now that he's gone, they're not going to remember him because he spent all his time looking through a window at a stove, which was something that really he could never be with, never be close to, because if he ever got any closer to that stove, he would have melted anyway.
Okay, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 cause 动词造成导致 The heavy rain caused a lot of mud on the road 大雨造成道路上有许多泥泞文法的部分刚刚提到了 think of 想起想到这是一个不可以分的片语动词我们来看看这个例句 Whenever I see roses, I think of my grandmother 每当我看到玫瑰就会想到我的奶奶。接着我们回到课文当中。
So at the end of the story, the snowman, he doesn't even get to touch or meet the stove at all. And instead, he just melted away. He didn't get anything.
Right, he didn't get anything, and it was something that I think he could have never really had. Because, yeah, he couldn't go inside the house, he couldn't get near the stove, but it's only because of that piece of, or not piece of the stove, but a stove rake that was inside of him that made him really want to be near that stove. So maybe at the end of the story, it would have been better if the watchdog never told the snowman about that stove, so he could have just lived his life outside and been more concerned for the weather so they could have lived a bit longer.
And he could have learned how to balance his life better.
That's right. Okay, well, that's all for today. So let's review the story and we will see you next time.
Then the weather started getting warmer. As the temperatures increased, the snowman decreased. He didn't say a word, and one morning he broke apart. In the snowman's spot, the watchdog saw a stove rake. It was standing up. Now the watchdog understood the snowman's feelings for the stove. The rake was in the snowman, so it caused him to have those feelings. However, that was all over, and soon winter was too. What's more, nobody in the house thought of the snowman anymore.
我们来复习一下这课的重点单词跟文法。单词的部分 temperature 名词温度气温 increase 动词增加 decrease 动词缩小减少 cause 动词造成导致。接着我们来看文法的部分 break apart 崩塌裂开 The boat hit the rocks and broke apart 那艘船撞上岩石之后四分五裂了Stand up 物品直立人站立 Our house was still standing up after the big earthquake 我们的房子在大地震后仍屹立不摇 Think of 想起想到 Al thought of Sherry when he heard this song Al 听到这首歌时想到 Sherry 以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法那我们下一次再见咯拜拜
Anything that is artificial is made by humans and does not occur naturally. And at today's location, there is an artificial lake. Even though it's not made by Mother Nature herself, it's still a beautiful sight to see. Let's visit the Maple Garden. The Maple Garden attracts both local residents and visitors. It has an artificial lake, grass-covered slopes, and a bridge. The park is good for the city's environment. It also helps stop the city from flooding. When you stand on the glass observatory deck and look down, the lake looks like a beautiful painting. When it gets dark, the lights reflect on the lake. You can enjoy the nice view in peace. And on the weekends, there are street artists playing music. The Maple Garden is a great place to relax. So, if you're looking to have a nice and relaxing time to yourself or with your family and friends, the Maple Garden is the ideal place to spend your day.